Perfect 10, another Tier 7 premium British cruiser, this from the most recent racing event. What is it? Basically, it's a Plymouth with some stat changes. The main thing that I would point out to you is the consumable differences. Perfect 10 has an exhaust smoke generator instead of sonar, so think Amalfi. You have a cruiser that can run at full speed while in the safety of its smokescreen. Perfect 10 also has a speed boost consumable, a French one at that, 15%, but no access to radar. The other stats to pay attention to: Perfect 10 has a significantly lower HP pool and slightly worse heals than Plymouth, a 1 second slower reload, the AP shells deal less damage, torps are 5 knots faster, and the ship is nearly 5 knots faster with a 2-second faster rudder shift. But all of this means over a kilometer less concealment than Plymouth in the open water, and when firing in smoke. Regardless of the stat changes, in my opinion, any iteration of the Plymouth is a beast of a ship. Perfect 10 is no different. Now for my disclaimer. This ship is in the store for 17,500 doubloons. That is expensive. I don't think that is worth purchasing. Wargaming gave me this ship for review purposes. I did not buy it. Also, the video in the background is a certified banger. Usually I try to post more modest gameplays for ship reviews because I don't want people to get the wrong impression of ships. I don't want people wailing, but this replay was just way too entertaining not to post, guys. So I'm kind of breaking my rule of not posting Krakens for ship reviews, and for that I apologize, but I promise the game in the background is A1, so enjoy. Alright, so I built this ship for accuracy, a little maneuverability, concealment, and DPM. My premium build, and the one featured in this gameplay on North, is Azerlane Belfast, who's likely the best Brit CL commander, but you could also have great results with a Fraser DPM build. Makawa and Mbeli were my go-to inspirations, and here's why. Perfect 10 has a little worse reload than Plymouth and worse concealment than Plymouth, so these inspos are going to help balance her out. You could do an ultra insane agile build with Tenant for the memes, and it is pretty ridiculous, let me tell you. Wait till you hear some of these stats. How does 41 knots base speed sound? Well, throw on your French speed boost consumable and it gets boosted to 47 knots while the consumable is running. But wait, there's more. You could add Fraser as an inspiration and a speed flag, and you could have a Brit cruiser doing 50 knots. It's pretty insane. Try it once for the memes, I would say, but for me personally, usually absurd ships like this never work out the way I want them to. When it comes down to it, I'm likely going to be playing from behind island cover anyways, or from smoke, just like this game is starting out. So to me it makes more sense, especially considering how squishy these ships are and the slow turret traverse, etc., to just play from cover. I don't like my odds in the open water, but that is just my opinion, guys. If you get this ship, definitely test out the meme build. That will be the fastest cruiser at tier 7. Speaking of the squishiness, this is towards the bottom of the pack as HP goes, and the heals are a little on the weak side, about 5,000 health per heal. The armor is the exact same as Plymouth, and that is to say, none really. If you get caught out in the open by a BB, start reciting some prayers or something. It's a floating depth strike waiting to happen. The citadel is above the waterline, the armor belt is small, and the bow and the stern are a paltry 16 millimeters of armor, so it just doesn't tank damage very well. And obviously, no super heals. On to the guns. I would say they're amazing, because they are, but after playing Plymouth, the nerfs to the reload and the shell damage are actually kind of noticeable in the DPM potential. Plymouth is just absurd, that is my opinion. For a tier 7 cruiser, I think it's kind of outrageous, almost as if bringing a tier 10 ship from PC straight to Legends tier 7 is a little bit too much. I'm looking at you, Summers. But Perfect 10 is great, of course, falling in 6th place for AP DPM. The short fused AP has improved pin angles, and it can be murderous to broadsides, but lackluster for guys that know how to angle. And that brings us to the Torp armament. It's a lovely 2x4 configuration. They can be single launched in typical Royal Navy fashion to great effect, and they're 5 knots faster than the Plymouths. They can be really effective. The AA is average, and the speed is, like we mentioned, kind of absurd. While Plymouth rates as nearly the slowest cruiser at tier 7, Perfect 10 is only beaten by the Amalfi in stock speed. That is until the speed boost consumable kicks in, and then you have the fastest tier 7 cruiser in the game. It's a pretty fun gimmick, I'm not going to lie. And to be fair, I do plan to test the agile version a little bit more, but you guys know me, I typically like to build to the weaknesses of ships rather than to the strengths to make a more well-rounded platform. And the results usually speak for themselves, they definitely do in this game. This ship is fast enough in my eyes not to spec more into it, unless you're just memeing with the boys. The turning circle, the rudder shift, they're also really good for tier 7 cruisers. Yeah, honestly, it's worth looking into if you want to play her agile, but maybe just not for me. Finally, Perfect 10 needed some more nerfs to kind of balance it out, so the concealment got hatcheted a little bit. 13.2 kilometers base, it's not that good at all, but I found with the concealment mod in Makawa, as shown in this game, we have a decent 10.7 kilometers, and I'm pretty happy with that. The decent concealment, the insane speed, and don't forget rolling smoke allow this ship to move into positions at the start of matches that other support cruisers can really only dream of, and I think that would be the gimmick of this ship. Rather than blazing across the back of the map at 50 knots, you can use it to get up close and prevent destroyers from moving into caps and things like that. I would like to point out this consumable, called an exhaust smoke generator, it's going to keep you concealed even at your highest speed. So you don't have to slow down, you don't have to stop, you just hit the consumable and keep blazing across the map. You can use it offensively, I suppose, but mostly I like it as a defensive tool, or as an, oh crap, I messed up consumable. I mostly saved it for when I took a bad engagement, or I needed to escape, but you could also use it to sit and farm if you felt like it. Just remember a 6.7 kilometer smoke fire penalty that is worse than Plymouth by a full kilometer. Alright, let's check in on the game and I'll quit blabbing about stats and charts and blah blah blah. This game is not going well. We spent the early part of the match farming damage over on C, and we really only got rewarded with a dead Prince Heinrich. Our team is down by 2 ships. A cap got steamrolled and we're at a standstill on C. Usually this is a recipe for a loss. But I have 2 very amazing and very British teammates to help turn this one around. Shout out to Ghazi Gaming. If you don't know who that is, he has a YouTube channel. He streams, makes short content for the game, so give his channel a follow. And another guy named YouSankMe, who I randomly found in looking for a div. Just kidding. YouSankMe is a super tester for Wargaming and is an Ultra Unicum Super Chad. You should always drop what you're doing in a match and target him relentlessly if you see him. Anyways, so we're hanging out in B cap. We're trying to stop the guys from A coming this way. We are currently in somebody's sonar, and I think it might be the Edinburgh, so we're going to kind of sail out and see if we can't catch him in a crossfire. Perfect 10 has been a really fun ship, I have to say. With its speed and maneuverability perks, it's a refreshing spin on Plymouth, albeit not better. Plymouth pumps out damage like few ships at tier 7 can do. It's up there with the Mines and the Weimar, really. And while Perfect 10 is quite saucy, it definitely falls behind comparatively. But the real kicker is not having Plymouth's ridiculous consumable suite. See, Plymouth has access to a 9.9 kilometer 40-second radar. That is nightmare fuel. That's legendary tier radar, not to mention a 4.9 kilometer 100-second sonar. Both of those tools are more effective than the speed boost and the exhaust smoke generator of Perfect 10 when it comes to battle impact and winning games. A well-played Plymouth will turn the tide of battle most every game it's in. Yeah, it's squishy, but if played from cover or well-angled with acceleration juking, it's a hard boat to counter. And anything that we did in this game in Perfect 10, we could have done it better with the Plymouth. Anyways, Ochakov has been hiding behind the island, so I finally had to come over to C-Cap. And here we're going to find a mines in a New Orleans. We'll see how that goes. Personally, if it came to buying a tier 7 premium ship right now, a tier 7 cruiser, I would pick the Plymouth or even the Celtic over Perfect 10. They are more well-rounded and will likely perform better in terms of win rate due to their great consumables. And with the Celtic, it's just its setup is so incredibly easy to play. But if speed is your thing, this ship is in the store. I would recommend you do your due diligence. Watch some more footage from other YouTubers besides me before you pull the trigger. Watch Aaron, Tommy Boy, Zarkoon, etc. They do great reviews, so check them out. My final verdict. I guess I'm probably going to give her 4 out of 5 stars. Now, for comparison's sake, Plymouth, I would 100% give 5 out of 5 stars because that ship is cracked. But Perfect 10 is a fun splash of flavor from traditional Royal Navy light cruisers. So the mine sailed into that last torpedo, and we are on the hunt for the Kraken. And luckily, Suzuya is right here. I think we're going to beat the buzzer with the hipper on my team who is trying to gun this guy down. But yeah, I think we're going to get it. Anyways, if this review was helpful to you at all, do me a solid and hit the like button. Also, leave me a comment down below of your thoughts on this ship and or Plymouth. I would love to hear from you, and I try to respond to everyone that I can. Be sure to subscribe for future videos. I stream most Sundays at noon CST, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.